Hi, and welcome to our instructional video that is designed to make you a smarter gambler. My name is Steve Bourie, and I'm the author of the American Casino Guide, the #1 best-selling book in the U.S. on the subject of casino gambling and travel, and the only book that comes with over $1,000 in casino coupons. If you want to know more about our book, be sure to visit our website at americancasinoguide.com. And if you have a smartphone or tablet, be sure to download our free app. Just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and search for American Casino Guide. In this video, we're going to take a look at the game of craps. And because it's a somewhat complex game, I'm going to break it down into 3 different parts. In this video, which is part 1 of a 3-part series, I'm going to tell you how the game is played, which is actually very simple, and then I'm going to explain the 2 most popular bets you can make, which are pass and don't pass, plus the free odds bet. Later on in part 2, I'll explain some of the other bets that can be made, and finally in part 3, I'll talk about even more bets, plus I'm going to explain how you can win. So, if you're all ready to learn about craps, let's begin. The game of craps can look a little intimidating to the average person because of all the various bets you can make, but actually the game itself is very simple. Everyone at the craps table gets a turn to roll the dice, but you don't have to roll if you don't want to. The dice are passed around the table clockwise, and if it's your turn to roll, you simply take 2 dice and roll them to the opposite end of the table. This is your first roll of the dice, which is also called the come-out roll. If you roll a 7 or 11, that's called a natural, and you win. Plus, you get to roll again. If you roll a 2, 3, or 12, those are called craps, and you lose, but you still get to roll again. The only other possible numbers you can roll are 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10. And if one of those numbers shows up, then that number becomes your point, and a dealer at the table will place a small white puck on that number to let everyone know that number is your point. Then the object of the game is to roll that number again before you roll a 7. If a 7 shows up before your point number does, then you 7 out, which means that you have lost and the dice move on to the next shooter. If your point number shows up before a 7 does, then you have made a pass. You then win your bet and you get to roll again. And that is all there is to the game of craps. Now that you know how to play the game, let's find out about the different kinds of bets you can make. 2 of the best bets you'll find on the craps table are in the areas marked pass and don't pass. When you bet on the pass line, you're betting that the shooter will win. To make a pass line bet, you put your bet right in front of you on the pass line. Pass line bets are paid even money, and the house edge on a pass line bet is 1.41%. You can also bet on the don't pass line, in which case you're betting that the shooter will lose. To make a don't pass bet, you put your bet in front of you in the don't pass area. Don't pass bets are also paid even money, and the house edge on them is 1.40%. In reality, the odds are always 1.41% against the shooter and in favor of the don't pass bettor by that same amount. Of course, if you're a don't pass bettor, the casinos don't want to give you a bet where you have an edge, so they have a rule in effect on don't pass bets where on the come-out roll, if the shooter throws a 12, you don't win. You don't lose either. The bet is just considered a push or tie, and nothing happens. In some cases, they may make 2 instead of 12 the number that's a push. Just look on the don't pass line and you'll see the word bar, and then the number that the casino considers a push. In our illustration, it says bar 12. So in this casino, your bet on the don't pass line will be a push if the come-out roll is a 12. This rule is what gives the casino its advantage on don't pass bets, and it doesn't matter whether the casino bars the 2 or the 12, the result is the same 1.40% advantage for the house. Alright, let's say you put $10 in the pass line and you roll the dice. If you roll 7 or 11, you win $10, and if you roll 2, 3, or 12, you lose $10. So, what happens if you roll any of the other numbers? Well, as I said before, that number becomes your point, and you have to roll that number again before you roll a 7 in order to win your pass line bet. Once your point is established, the dealer at each end of the table will move a marker into the box that corresponds to your point number to let everyone at the table know what your point is. The marker that's used has two different sides. One side is black with the word off, and the other side is white with the word on. Before any point is established, the marker is kept in the don't come box with the black side facing up until you roll a point number. And then the dealer turns it over to the white side and moves it inside the box that contains your point number. For example, let's say your come-out roll is a 6. The dealer simply turns the marker over to the white side that says on and places it in the 6 box. This lets everyone know that 6 is your point and that you will continue to roll the dice no matter how long it takes until you roll a 6, which will make you a winner, or a 7, which will make you a loser. Now keep in mind that once your point is established, you can't remove your pass line bet until you either win by throwing your point or lose by rolling a 7. The reason for this is that on the come-out roll, the pass line bettor has the advantage because there are 8 ways to win by rolling a 7 or 11, and only 4 ways to lose by rolling a 2, 3, or 12. If a point number is rolled, no matter what number it is, there are then more ways to lose than to win, and that's why the bet can't be removed. If you were allowed to remove your bet, everyone would just wait for the come-out roll, and if they didn't win, they would take their bet back, which would give them a big advantage over the house, and as you know, casinos don't like that, so that's why you can't remove your bet. As I mentioned before, the pass line is one of the best bets you'll find. But there is a way to make it even better, because once your point number is established, the casino will allow you to make another bet that will be paid off at the true odds. This is a very good bet to make because the casino has no advantage on this bet. In this instance, since your point was 6, the true odds are 6 to 5. And that's what your bet will be paid off at, $6 for every $5 you bet. This is called an odds bet, taking the free odds or betting behind the line. And to make this bet, you simply put your chips directly behind your pass line bet. There is a limit to how much you're allowed to bet, and for many years, most casinos allowed a maximum of 2 times the amount of your pass line bet. Nowadays, however, many casinos offer 5 times odds, and some casinos are even allowing up to 100 times odds. Because the casino has no advantage on these bets, you're effectively lowering the house edge on your total pass line bet by taking advantage of these free odds bets. For example, the normal house edge on a pass line bet is 1.41%. But if you also make a single odds bet along with your pass line bet, you will lower the house edge on your total pass line bets to 0.85%. If the casino offers double odds, then the edge on your bet is lowered to 0.61%. With triple odds, the edge is lowered to 0.47%, and if you were to play in a casino that allowed 10 times odds, the edge would be lowered to only 0.18%, which means that, statistically speaking, over time, that casino would only make 18 cents out of every $100 you bet on that table. As you can see, the more the casino allows you to bet behind the line, the more it lowers their edge. So it's always a good idea to take advantage of this bet. By the way, free odds bets, unlike regular pass line bets, can be removed or reduced at any time. All right, let's make our free odds bet on our point number of 6 by putting $10 behind the line. Then we continue to roll until we either roll a 6 or a 7. If a 6 came up, we would get even money on the pass line bet, plus 6 to 5 on the free odds bet, for a total win of $22. But if we rolled a 7, we would lose both the pass line bet and the free odds bet for a total loss of $20. In this example, we used 6 as our point number, but there are 5 other numbers that appear, and here are the true odds for all of the possible point numbers. The 4 and 10 are 2 to 1. The 5 and 9 are 3 to 2, and the 6 and 8 are 6 to 5. You'll notice that the numbers appear in pairs, and that's because each paired combination has the same probability of occurring. As you can see, there are 6 ways to make a 7 and only 5 ways to make a 6 or 8. Therefore, the odds are 6 to 5. There are 6 ways to make a 7 and only 3 ways to make a 4 or 10, so the true odds are 6 to 3, which is the same as 2 to 1. And finally, there are 6 ways to make a 7, but just 4 ways to make a 5 or 9, so the true odds here are 6 to 4, which is the same as 3 to 2. It's important you remember these numbers because, number one, you want to make sure that you're paid the right amount when you do win, and number two, you want to make sure that when you make your odds bet, you make them in amounts that are paid off evenly. As an example, if your point is 5 and you have $5 on the pass line, you wouldn't want to bet $5 behind the line because at 3-2 odds, the casino would have to pay you $7.50 and they don't deal in change. When making the odds bet on the 5 or 9, you should always bet in even amounts. And in the situation just mentioned, most casinos would allow you to add an extra $1, so you would have $6 out and they could pay you $9 if you won. The only other situation where this occurs is on the 6 and 8, where the payoff is 6-5. So in that instance, you want to make your bets in multiples of $5. We spent all this time talking about pass line betting, so what about don't pass betting? Well, everything applied to pass line betting works pretty much just the opposite for don't pass betting. If you put $5 in don't pass, you would win on the come-out roll if the shooter rolled a 2 or 3. You would tie if the shooter rolled a 12. And you would lose if the shooter rolled a 7 or 11. If any other number comes up, then that becomes the shooter's point number, and if he rolls a 7 before he rolls that same point number, you will win. If he rolls his point number before he rolls a 7, you will lose. Don't pass bettors are also allowed to make free odds bets to back up their original bets. However, because the odds are in their favor, they must lay odds rather than take odds. This means that if the point is 4 or 10, the don't pass bettor must lay 2-1 or bet $10 to win $5. On 5 or 9, he must lay 3-2 or bet $6 to win $4. And on the 6 or 8, he must lay 6-5 or bet $6 to win $5. By taking advantage of these free odds bets, the casino advantage is slightly lowered on the total don't pass bets to 0.68 with single odds, 0.46% with double odds, 0.34% with triple odds, and 0.12% with 10 times odds. If you want to, you can remove or reduce the amount of your free odds bets at any time. To make a free odds bet on don't pass, you should place your odds bet right next to your original bet and then put a chip on top to connect the two bets. Keep in mind that when you make a free odds bet on don't pass, the casino will allow you to make your bet based on the payoff rather than the original amount of your don't pass bet. In other words, if the casino offered double odds, the point was 6, and you had $10 in don't pass, you would be allowed to bet up to $24 because you would only win $20, which was double the amount of your original $10 bet. Since you have to put out more money than you'll be getting back, laying odds is not very popular at the craps table, and you'll find that the vast majority of craps players would rather bet with the shooter and take the odds. Statistically speaking, it makes no difference whether you are laying or taking the odds because they both have a zero advantage for the house. One last point about don't pass betting is that once the point is established, the casino will allow you to remove your don't pass bet if you want to, but don't do it. As noted before, on the come-out roll, the pass line bettor has the advantage because there are 8 rolls that can win and only 4 that can lose. But once the point is established, there are more ways the shooter can lose than win. So at that point, the don't pass bettor has the advantage, and it would be foolish to remove your bet. That's it for part 1 of our video on how to play craps. Don't forget that in part 2, I'll explain about some of the other bets that you can make, and in part 3, I'll give you details on even more bets, plus I'll tell you how to win at the game of craps. In the meantime, best wishes for good luck in the casinos. Don't forget that you can see more of our educational gambling videos on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/AmericanCasinoGuide.